and then use for their farming operations. So that's a big issue for us. The people constraint is great. And we're saying inadequate people with the right passion. They both mentioned passion, which is very key, with the right passion, with the right skill, and technical know-how to change the game. So that I see that this meeting is addressing. I won't go through this because we would have talked about it. So from what we are doing, we're saying there are opportunities for the youth, and the almighty CEO, Tepebo Farms International Limited, conglomerate, global, has actually taken us through that there are different aspects of the value chain that you can be. You can do buying and selling, or Jacinta also mentioned it, land clearing. We have LO tractors now. LO tractors is actually young, guys like us who is trying to solve the problem of land clearing. In southern part of Nigeria, we have big issues with land clearing compared to the north. The north is just open land. You have open land that does not require land clearing. As we speak, there's a program that we're working on, which is Free Crops Development Program. One hard nut that has been difficult for us to crack is how do we open up new land in southwest Nigeria. Number one, government will tell you we don't have money to procure tractors or bulldozers to bulldoze those heavy trees on the farmland. Number two, farmers will say this is enormous cost on me. I can't procure the required bulldozers because I don't have the money. Then who is going to come to our aid? So this is a very big problem, which of course paints a lot of opportunities for us youth to begin to think ourselves, to think through on how we can solve. Then we're saying extension service. Extension service now, we're having so much of private sector involvement in extension service, not just limited to the public sector. Then logistics, aggregation. For some of us, we know there's this guy, Apex Commodities. Apex Commodities, we have some guys, Fifth Harvest. We have those guys, they're just playing at the logistics end, and they are raking in millions of naira every year. Just logistics. Just get farmers. You just position yourself as an aggregator. When they produce, farmers need where to take their product to. They don't want to be thinking about that. So you just position yourself at that end, facilitate transportation as crude and as undeveloped, underdeveloped our roads are. You can always just stay at that aggregation end, put a little bit of value addition in terms of grading, in terms of polishing it and all of that. So on the logistics end, there are lots of billions for you to make. Processing also. One major challenge we've always had with processing is that we have imported technology that do not meet the local requirements in most cases. When China, for example, is producing their processing technology, the acreage of land of farming that is done in China is massive. So when they are producing their technology, they are assuming that rice is 100,000 metric tons. Is this. In Nigeria, we still have issues with productivity. We are not producing enough. And then you go and bring that same technology that is made for China into Nigeria where the local context is different. That's a big problem. We have engineers in Nigeria, they are just sleeping and waking. They collect BSc and MSc and they are not doing anything. This is an opportunity for you. In processing, we need locally fabricated technology that can help process some of these things we are producing. There was this, in Ogun State, we had a discussion at some point with the government, and then they're trying to say we want to leverage Anchor Borrower Scheme for cassava in the state. Then the big problem comes. Who will take the cassava from the farm? The farmer does not want to take the cassava from farm to meet the off-taker. The off-taker does not want to go to the farm to pick the cassava. Why? Because cassava, 70% is water. Off-taker will say, if I go to the farm, what I'll be taking, I only need 30% of what I'm bringing for the farm. So why should I spend enormous money to go and bring it for you? Now, government will now say, how can I do it? We need technology. One of the things we've found is that in Africa, for example, we don't have indigenous technology solving our peculiar problems. We'll go to China. go to Singapore, import all of them. So processing is one big thing that I see a lot of us, plugging ourselves in. So that's another opportunity. Then harvesting. Do you know that sometimes for smallholder farmers, that you can even provide the labor that a farmer will need to help them harvest. Sometimes you can be making 30 naira from it, and then you can. So the idea is just that that's also another opportunity. Harvesting is also a value chain that some of us can position ourselves at. So there are opportunities for the youth in the agriculture and agribusiness space. There are opportunities for everyone. So our focus in Southwest, we have the Southwest Regional Integrated Commercial Agriculture and Agribusiness Development Program. So which, of course, the team actually came up with. So we're saying, of course, our focus is the Southwest region. So how do we deploy regional integration approach to helping agriculture in Southwest? In Southwest, for example, Lagos State does not have land, they have water. Abi? In Oyo State is the largest in terms of farmland. And then you found out that you want to do proper commercial agriculture. And then you don't have the land, the farmland at contiguous locations, in all the states. There is need for us to begin to look at strategies that bring all the states together, and then they can leverage what we call economies of scale in economics to improve efficiency and to also improve effectiveness. In rice, for example, we're working on a project which we call Western Rapid. Western Rapid is Western standing for Southwest. Rapid is Rice Accelerated Program for Integrated Development. One of the things we found out is the fact that the production cost, of course, we have experts. Our IITA agripreneur, they will tell us all of this because we are not farmers. The production cost in Southwest is very high compared to producing in the North, where you have low land. Abi? Now, one of the things that myself and my team, we then sat down, how can we reduce the inefficiency in rice production in Southwest? How do you, because you need to find a way to ensure, one of the things that fuels cost is inefficiencies. Inefficiency in the sense of bad road, inefficiency in the sense of, I have my farm here, I will need to take it miles, 500 miles for processing. That's inefficiency because the cost of transporting it, you've spent money on something that does not add value to that product. So, and then we start thinking, for example, if you have a rice mill, and then we start to advise some of those states, if you have a rice mill, and then you put that rice mill far apart where the paddy is produced, what you are doing is that you are increasing the inefficiencies in the system. Do we get what I'm trying to say? So, but it makes sense to then find a way to cluster the farmers around, put the rice mill there, put the aggregator there, and then you reduce that inefficiency, and then you have better cost and better pricing, and then you make your pricing competitive. So that's the high point of our program. It's actually a very bulky document that we developed and has a lot of things in them. So we're saying there are also state-specific programs. I may not be able to talk in details regarding that. In Oyo, we know recently there's this Shanghai farm model. In Ogun, farm model. In Osun, we have ORIP and all of that. And all of these also have youth empowerment component in them. So for us, the plank of what we do is to create a partnership platform for stakeholders to discuss and commit to building a sustainable agricultural sector in Southwest Nigeria. We have what we have developed, which is the Let's Do Cocoa agenda. We have the Western Rapid. Now, the Let's Do Cocoa, we started engagement in 2014, where we started bringing stakeholders around to discuss how we can reposition cocoa in Southwest Nigeria. You agree with me that cocoa, or cocoa, or cocoa, how do we pronounce it? Cacao. Cacao is scientific. Me, I am not a farmer and I got cocoa. Yoruba people here pronounce cocoa. Cocoa. Let's traditionalize the pronunciation. So cocoa, I've been struggling with it. Cocoa. So Cocoa is, okay, for the sake of this gathering, which I believe is this high up there in intellectualism. So let's adopt cacao, Abi. So when we get out there on the street, all right. So let's do cacao agenda. We developed this program document because we found out from various engagements that we've lost our pride when it comes to cacao. So, and what we found out, of course, we all know that we slid from the first position, cacao producing country, to second, to fourth, and recently to seventh. So, and you know that when they produce this chocolate and then they consume it, they don't produce this cacao. We produce it, but we cannot lay claim to a larger share in that market. So at Dawn Commission, we sat ourselves down and then we said, we want to develop what we have dubbed creating the best story of pride recovery in Africa. Now, that agenda has a lot of program interventions, and then we said this program is hinged on two key priorities: recovering the cocoa economy and sustaining it. We need to first recover what we've lost. And in that program, because we did a Southwest Cocoa Industry survey where we got some data. You can imagine a data you get in Nigeria. You know, it's also not reliable, Abi, but it's better than not having data. So we got that data, which of course is manageable, and around that data, we developed this strategy. So we took it to NASAL. NASAL is Nigerian incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending. And then we took it to them. And as we speak, Dawn Commission is currently coordinating that program, which I mentioned earlier, which is the Tree Crops Development Program. And it's actually a Nigerian program. Now, Anchor Borrower Scheme, a lot of us would have heard about it. Anchor Borrower Scheme initially was only tailored to rice, to grains. And so by that, the northern part benefited immensely from it. Southwest or southeast could not plug to leverage that scheme. So what we have done, hello, Papa Wio, no say na saliva at the waist. I bet me my saliva no drop for floor. So, Tree Crops Development Program. So what we're saying is that we used that program to take advantage of the Anchor Borrower Scheme. And as we speak, all the states in Southwest, Cross River, Edo, and Akwa Ibom, they are currently plugged into this program. By October, the program will be launched. One of the things we have been thinking is to find a way to work with Dr. Rajana and to see how we can cook up some form of, because one of the things we specified is that 70% of those who will participate on that program must be youth. Because the idea, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is to replace these aged cocoa farmers with the youth. But you cannot go 100% directly because you need their experience. So what we're doing is creating a mentorship, having a mentorship approach where youth can then come in. So by October, November, we will be rolling out this program, and then some of you will be involved. Then we also have the Western Rapid, which is the Western Rice Accelerated Program for Integrated Development. What led to this? Lagos State has a rice mill, and we all know of this Lake rice, Abi? Lagos and Kebbi rice. Lagos acquired a mill, but in their state, they do not have capacity to utilize that mill. And then they had to do a collaboration with Kebbi, who produces the paddy, and then they bring it to Lagos. But like I said, there is gross inefficiency in that, because when you bring paddy from Kebbi and then to Lagos, the transport cost and all of that will jack up your production cost, hence not making what you are producing competitive. So what we are then doing, Lagos State, in addition to that, went to Switzerland in the last 2-3 months, and they are bringing another rice mill, which is to produce 32 metric tons per hour. What they have at the moment, if it's upgraded, will produce 16 metric tons per hour. Oh, sorry, I'm rounding up. So 16 metric tons per hour. So altogether it's 48 metric tons. To do that, they will need 28,800 hectares of rice. Lagos State only has 3,000 hectares of, has 3,000 hectares that they can use for rice. You know, because it's not only rice we are doing also. We won't be eating rice alone. That can lead to kwashiorkor. So now, how do they get the additional 25,800 hectares of rice? They need to look within the state. So that's where Dawn Commission, being a regional body, came in. And then this program is developed around that. So by the way we're working, we're doing it. States will be developing bespoke youth empowerment program to take advantage of this. Lagos State is there as your market. Immediately, the states produce, Lagos State takes, and their mill uses it. So I'm here just to share all of this with us, just to further expand what we usually call our understanding of what is possible within our space, and to help us understand that there are vast opportunities. As far as we are concerned, we have a relationship with IITA, and as soon as these programs are forming, we will engage IITA and to see how we can partner and use some of, some of our youth to test run, these programs. For the cocoa, which is the Let's Do Cocoa program, as much as 880 billion naira is going to be unlocked in the next 8 years. And we started engagement with CRIM. To do this program alone, we need 1.8 million seedlings per year, cocoa seedlings. CRIM can only produce 750. Another opportunity that we're unlocking for youth is we're telling CRIM, you cannot produce all the seedlings. What you can do, train 50 youths, maybe you put them on 1 hectare, and then take them through the gap, the training and all of that, and then certify their seedlings. So we're engaging CRIN on that. So just to let you know that there are immense opportunities in the agri space. Southwest is waiting for you, passionate farmers, to come and take advantage of the opportunities in the region, and also to put food on your table and money in your pocket. So efforts to drive youth involvement in agriculture has transcended slogan of political games. It has become a dire necessity, given the current economic situation bearing down heavily on the citizens, especially the ever-increasing youth population, who largely seem disoriented on how to sort out a living for themselves without access to the almost non-existent well-paid jobs. Agriculture is a ready and effective answer. And Dawn Commission is willing to provide good platforms that can leverage your strengths. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together again for Mr. Adedokushengu, please. Thank you. To take us further in today's event, I would love to bring up a man, Mr. Festus Okunwola. He's going to talk to us about youth in agriculture, the IYA model. Youth in agriculture, the IYA model. The IYA model is a living testimony of youths participating in agriculture. Please, let's put our hands together for Mr. Festus Okunwola as the podium, please.
afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay. I guess some of us are still thinking about the lunch we had. Coppers wheel. Some of us are still sleeping. Coppers wheel. We. Thank you. I think my job is very simple. I'm just going to let us see what IIT Youth Agribusiness is all about, what we do, how we engage youth in agribusiness, and probably you have one or two questions later on, we'll talk about it. So that's just basically what I'm going to tell you, who we are, what we do, how we do it, and then we'll move forward with it. So looking at this picture, most especially the one to my right, I want you to picture something in your mind. When you see this picture, as you're looking at it, what comes to your mind? The man holding cutlass in the cassava farm, what comes to your mind? One person, maybe probably I'll allow one person to talk. Please, if you want to say something, just raise your hand. What comes to your mind looking at that picture? Anybody? Looking at this picture we have here, what do you have in your mind? What does it tell you? Please now, one person, just talk. Who wants to talk? Who? Okay, thank you. What comes to your mind? Mechanized farming. Thank you. For some of us, when we were growing up, most especially in the secondary school, probably the first week of resumption, what happened? What happened? It's always a wrong time to go to school because your football field, will be so full of grass, weed, and mostly what you do during that week is to take cutlass and go and cut, right? So we have that mentality that this is what agriculture is all about. Yes or yes? Hello? We have a mentality that what agriculture is all about is more of punishment, take cutlass, hold, and go and weed. Yes or yes? All right. So I remember that growing up, this was all or mostly what I was doing in agriculture. In fact, for me, it was extremely terrible because when I was in primary school, well, I happened to attend my primary school in the village, and our principal, or our headmaster, sorry, was somebody that probably if we go for a break, we could actually play football till 2 o'clock. We'll not go back to class. Even on Fridays, we'll probably go to his cassava farm, we'll go and weed for some of his girlfriends, and that's how we do agriculture in those days. So these were the kind of things that I grew up with, and in fact, I never wanted to study agriculture, and unfortunately that time, I had to find myself in plant breeding and seed technology. So I want to ask one other question. How many of us here study agri-related courses? Let me see your hands up. Agri-related courses. Oof. Okay, so I assume that the rest of us, about 80% of us, did not do anything agricultural related. All right, so how many of us, based on what we've had so far, will want to do agriculture? Let me see your hands up. Based on what we've had so far, want to go into agriculture? Let me see your hands up. All right, it is well. So let's put our hands down. Thank you. So quickly, let's just move on. What happened? How did you come about IIT Youth Agribusiness? So let's leave that part one of what I just did. Let's put it at the back of our mind and let's just move on with what I have to do. All right. So here, something happened in 2014. I do not know how many people applied for it. Malaya talked about it in the morning. The immigration exercise, where we had millions of youth applying for less than 5,000 jobs. And we could sit in this stadium. I see they are playing Arsenal versus Man U. Arsenal fans here. How many people are here? No, so it looks as if they are playing football match, but that was not what was happening. At the end of the day, we recorded some casualties were recorded here. So we see the alarming rate of unemployment in the country. Also, to the left, For those that serving in IITA, every first 3 days of the month, if you come to IITA, you see things like this. You see people at the gate. What are they coming to do? They want to get casual jobs. They want to weed the farm. They want to clean tables. They want to serve beers and all sorts of things. Most of these people are actually graduates, masters, some PhD. Talk about it, because I'm telling you the truth. Because there is no job, really job out there, honestly speaking. So these are situations where we find ourselves now in the country, and we know that the average farming population, hello, please one house, please, one house. So average farming force is over 60 years. We know that our grandparents are really the ones doing the farming, they're the ones cultivating what we eat. So this is the dilemma that we find ourselves into. And just in 2012, we have these beautiful faces, people like us wearing khakis. They actually serve in IITA. And they were just about leaving after their passing out parade, and they were going. And the DG called and said, now you're done, you're going out. What do you want to do? Some people said, I want to go for my master's. Some other people said, well, I want to go and see if I could probably get a job. And truthfully, we know what happened. Mostly, when you finish your service here, most people will go and do what? They go and obtain form. They go for their master's, right? Hello? Is that not true? So after you obtain master's and they have their MSc, some go for PhD. Why? Because they do not have job. And some people keep searching for job. Honestly speaking, I have a couple of friends today who finish together, do not have jobs. Seriously, it's just the reality. We do not need to bring in faith. Yes, faith is good, but we need to face reality at times. So some of the people now say that they want to go for their masters, they want to do this. And the DG then now said, okay, let's assume that we have you back here and you engage yourself in agriculture as a business. What happens? Someone like, well, it's possible, let's just try it out and see what happens. And this was what gave birth to IITA Youth Agripreneur that almost everybody have heard about today. Because of these beautiful khakis that all of you are wearing, gave us that platform to start this movement. So it was much of a research, okay, let's see what happens. And with that, did you now say, let's see what happens. We are going to test some hypotheses where we are going to raise monthly income of young people from $0 to $200 and see $700 in a space of 3 years, based on the activities that we are going to do. And also let's see if we are going to be able to have independent businesses that are going to spring, out of these hypotheses that we're going to test. So with that, we have to look at it, okay, so what would be the strategy? We know what IITA is into. IITA does research of improved varieties, let's say varieties of maize, cassava. So we are going to leverage on some of these technologies that IITA has been able to do. I mean, done over the years, the improved technologies of like cassava, maize, and also we are going to see how we build our skills relating to agriculture, all the life skills, business proposals, business plans, writing, even communication skills, how to develop this in ourselves for us to be able to run a profitable agribusiness venture. And also, for us to be able to see that we have our leg firmly in this, what we are doing, and also to see how we probably engage other youth in what we are doing. So these were some of the things that we put together at that time to see how we move forward. So you see how we've been able to achieve some of these things that I just told you about. And also to see that as we are, all of us are going into it, what will be the outcome? Now, to see that we have the maximum percentage of 40% of the total number of people starting up their own businesses. Then also to have 20% that will further their education. We know that agriculture in the university is not what it's supposed to be. It's more of theory than what? Practical. So some of the people that have been able to pass through this program will be able to go back to school, further their education, and go back to university and be able to strengthen this educational system that we have and be able to say this is how we're supposed to do it, in order for us to have more entrepreneurial people graduating from the university. Also to have 10% that will continue to run the IT Youth Agripreneur, as an organization, then to see 10% employed by other private organizations. People have been telling you about that different components of the value chain. You don't need to be the real farmer yourself. If you are going to be a blogger, you want to be a communication person, just find one component of this value chain and key yourself in. That it's possible that we have 10% that will probably do one of these, and we're also to see 10% probably failure of people that will say, well, I'm no more interested. Let me find my level. So these were the outcomes that we came up with. And what has been the model we use? So since that 2012, we leveraged on the expertise of the researcher here in IITA, and they were able to teach us. And also, one of our fathers that is here, Papa Durante Papa, we were able to, leverage on what they've done so far. We went for 2 weeks training, for example, for fish, and that 2 weeks training turned to be one of the best enterprises that we have today. So we had to go through the mobilization as NYSC, like you saw that picture. From there, our mindset were changed. We had to visit some people that have established their own agribusiness firm. For example, for some of us that know, this man called, what is this man, Artilero? Forgot his name. Okay, Niji Lucas, we know Niji Lucas. For real, when I went to Niji Lucas' farm, I saw him, only him, managing over 3,000 hectares of cassava farm. And we're traveling as if we're moving from one farm, one village to the other. And I was like, if only one man could have this, then what would stop me from doing it? Also, we got to a particular farm where we had to see a planter that was planting 50 hectares of cassava farm. Not using the old and cutlass of a thing to be cutting cassava stem and be planting. So smooth and easy, and we're like, wow, if this could actually be available, then why not? I can actually find my space in agriculture as a business. So these are some of the things that we did that changed our mindset for some of us that were looking at agriculture as that picture that I showed you in the first instance when I was starting my presentation. We're seeing other side of agriculture as something that could really give room for the youth to do something tangible in agriculture. So this changed our mindset. And also we had to see scientists, business people, like going for training at Durante, and some other people like ecchemics, people that came to train and mentor us, for us to have expertise and see how to really do this more than the theory that we've had in the university. So from there, we now decided on the profitable, or to try some enterprises that we will do and see which one is actually profitable that we'll probably go into. And even from there, we now see that we still keep in touch with those that trained us, for them to be able to tell us, okay, this you are doing right, this you are not doing right. So they've been able to mentor us, and this has formed the model that we use. That even when we engage people, we change their mindset, we get them, we mobilize them, change their mindset, we train them, they come with their profitable enterprises, and we keep mentoring them. So this became the model that we've been using since. So who actually are we in IITA Youth Agripreneurs? We have people from diverse academic background. When I was asking for those that study agri-related courses, we have few. Just the same way it is in IITA Youth Agripreneurs. We have people that study quantity surveying, we have people that study French, we have people that study English language, economics, and the like. So we are multi-disciplined. And also, almost equal representation of male and female. So this is just who we have. You do not really need to study agriculture before you can be productively engaged into it. And also, what has been our achievements since 2012? So I'll just pick some few things and let you see. So over this period that we've been able to establish our own enterprises, we supply not less than 12.5 worth of fish monthly, and we have markets in at least 7 states in Nigeria. We have people coming all the way from Abuja, from Southeast, South, from even the Northeast, coming here to come and buy our fish. And I tell you that the training we had at Durante that made us to transform 4 abandoned ponds here on campus to 17 mercy ponds. Well, for just one cycle, it will produce you have the old 17 ponds running, you harvest nothing less than 150 tons of fish. And this is a huge market for us, and we have people coming to buy it. Also, we've been able to sell, over 100 tons of maize, soybean annually, supply nothing less than 2 tons of chicken per week. Monthly. Then we also have over 25,000 suckers that we've been able to supply annually. Now, let me just tell you something about this sucker. Let me just say quickly one thing about this sucker. If you sell 25,000 suckers monthly, or let's say annually rather, and you're selling at a rate of 100 naira per sucker, and you're able to sell 25,000 suckers per year, how much are you going to make as your revenue? 2.5 million, right? Hello? So if you sell 25,000 suckers at the rate of 100 naira per sucker, how much are you making? 2.5 million. Are we together? All right, with that, and you have like an expenditure of nothing less than, let's say, 500,000, I'll tell you. If you have 2 hectares of farm, and for 1 hectare you need 2,000 suckers to establish 1 hectare. So for 2 hectares you have 4,000 hectares. So, and it takes you, or it costs you just nothing less than 20,000 to weed and maintain your field per year. So with other running costs, you have 100,000 plus the other expenses. So you're having like 500,000 on the 2 hectares, and you're making 2.5 million naira. Please, is that not profitable enough to sustain you? Hello? Is that not profitable enough to sustain you? So we see some of these opportunities, and these are things that we've done, and we are telling you that they are really, really real and profitable. All right, so more than the normal production, what are the things we do? We also add value to some of the commodities that we produce, like the soybean, the cassava, the maize, and some of these, I don't know how many of us have seen it. We have a snack called tidbit. This snack is made from high-quality cassava flour and cowpea, and I'll tell you what this snack has done, or what it has translated into for ITS agribusiness. We also add value to fish. We have soy milk, and some of these products we supply to supermarkets, to schools, hospitals, and they are very nutritious and good for your body. Moving forward, one key thing, key area that IITA Youth Entrepreneur focus more into is the development of skills or training of youth. So we have an arm, moving away from the production arm, we have another arm that we call support service, where we have communication, monitoring and evaluation, capacity development unit. So this unit have been able to train some other youth across Nigeria, even outside Nigeria. And this unit have been able to train more than 400 youth in Nigeria. And with all of our experiences since 2012, we've been able to develop some material that will help youth to productively engage in agriculture. So one of our key strengths is capacity development, because we know we've done it, and we believe in youth-to-youth approach that if we as youth have done it, then nothing should stop you from doing it. So we're able to mentor people and train them across borders. And also we've been able to form some partnership to be able to get some other youth on board, and I'll quickly tell you about some of the things we do. And been able to meet with some policy makers to see how we're able to tell them some of the things that we know or we think should move agribusiness forward in Nigeria and even in Africa. So part of the partnership, in conjunction with the capacity development of IITA Youth Entrepreneur, is some of this that Molaya talked about in the morning, having a partnership with Hello Tractor, where we have this smart tractor here, and we are seeing how youth can productively have fleet of this smart tractor and run as a business. Now, for every agribusiness, you will spend nothing more than 60% on maintenance if you go into production. So if you could actually have a business that will successfully weed a farm without stress, or just without stress, you see that you are really on a way to make an income for yourself. So this project is actually taking place in 3 locations just in 2 years. We successfully finished year 1. We are actually going to 2nd year. Oyo, Abuja, Kano. And also another project that was sponsored by Chevron Nigeria Limited was this project in Warri, how many of us know Nigeria Delta region of Nigeria? And we know what happens there. And for some of us that were around during ITA at 50 celebration, there was one guy that came from that region. His name is New World. He happens to be one of the gang leaders in the Nigeria Delta. That whenever they want to go and cause trouble, he will be the one that they will call. But it was a very nice experience to hear that this guy today is engaged productively in fish production. Just because an organization decided to see how they will engage them into, in agribusiness. So this project is actually engaging 120 youth in that region to see how they will, engage productively in agribusiness and in the value chain of cassava, fish, and plantain. And we have testimony like that other guy I told you from that region. And we have more of them that are really doing this. When you call them today to come and vandalize pipe, they will tell you they are coming. But the next thing they do is to switch off their phone and they have gone to their farm. Also, Mulaya talked about this, I don't want to dwell more on it. Mina Milagate in the core region of the Borno State, where we're able to train people, and over 60% have their startup there. And also Agri-Youth Lab, where we're going to engage out of school 50,000 young people that are going to be engaged in agriculture. So moving from there, what has happened to ITA Youth Agripreneur over the past few months? We had a testimony from Mr. Waid Oni Ahmed. He happened to be one of those people that left here, ITA campus, to establish their own agribusiness business ventures. Remember I told you something, that part of our outcome is to see 40% running their own independent businesses, and also from our hypothesis. So these people are proud CEOs today because they have their own businesses that they are running outside. And one of them is the Fruitery, represented by Mr. Ahmed Oni, running their own fish farm outside ITA campus. And what they do is they add value to the normal catfish, they smoke it, and they also sell frozen catfish also, and their market is very, very huge. Also, another one is Grace Vine Venture. What she does is to add value to cowpea and also beans. The beans has been picked, she packed it very well, and people are actually buying this from her. She supplies cooperative, and she's really making it very fast. So these are some of the success stories aside from other youth that we've been able to train outside. And the other one is this one called Tofan. They were able to scale out the tidbits that we produce here, and they are currently in Djibouti, where they are able to produce this, supply people around Lagos, Ogun State, and even some of the market that they still have in the Southwest. And they are proudly today CEOs of their own companies. So what have we done again is to see that we're able to move outside Ibadan to replicate ourselves in such a way that we're able to train other youth across borders. So today we have our existence in 5 other countries. We have in Tanzania, we have in DR Congo, we have in Uganda, we have in Zambia, and also in Nigeria and Kenya. But let me just tell you what has happened in 2 of those locations. For example, in Imo, we've been able to transform some abandoned facilities in Imo. The picture to my right or to your left shows an abandoned 5,000 greenhouse that was abandoned in Imo State. And my colleagues there have been able to transform this into productive, productively engage this greenhouse in getting cucumbers, tomatoes, and all sorts of vegetables in that region. In fact, it was the governor of that state was even saying that they do not really believe that youth could actually produce tomato in their own state. They were thinking it was a GMO. But today, it is a testimony that yes, that state can produce tomatoes and other vegetables. And also, this poultry can conducively house 5,000 birds. And these are some of the things that were abandoned and they are productively using, to get themselves engaged. And also, fish pond that can get about 15,000, fishes in it. And in DR Congo, we have our colleagues that what they do is they just produce cassava flour. And this cassava flour, they move from just 9,000 tons to 14,000 tons per week. In fact, when they started producing, they were making just $900, $600. But today, I tell you, with what they do, they make nothing less than $14,000 per week. This is true. And they've been able to compete with key players in cassava, high-quality cassava flour, producers in DRC, to the extent that they are now even exporting this cassava flour to their neighboring countries. And now, after some of our presentation, we hear people saying, how can we join you? We want to really be part of you. And we always tell them that you do not really need to be in IITA because you can be part of it. Because I know some people are still going to ask me that question today. So what has happened is that African Development Bank has been able to see that what we do is reliable. And they want to see how other people, other youth like you, like myself, can really come on board and become productively engaged in agriculture. And so they were able to develop this project called Enable Youth. And Enable Youth means empowering novel agribusiness-led employment for youth in Africa. This project is for 5 years, and see that how we create opportunities along the agricultural value chain for young people. Agricultural value chain, I mean employment and job opportunities. So this project is going to be for 5 years, where we have people that are going to be between the ages of 18 and 35 that are going to benefit from this project. But let me just talk specifically about Nigeria. This project in Nigeria, we hope that it's going to kickstart soon, maybe before the end of this year. Yes, and we are going to have 37,000 youth that are going to be engaged across Nigeria. So 1,000 youth per state. So if you want to enjoy, if you want to partake in this project, it has to be from your state, and it's a federal government project. So you are going to be trained, and they are going to make funds available for you to be able to partake in it. And now, let me tell you, we have a system coming on board in such a way that we know agriculture is very, very risky. So there's a system that has been developed in such a way that we have these rates that are going to be the risks. So we have a system that is coming on board to see that the commercial bank and the project itself, the risks, all the risks are going to be faced. So you are going to have a loan that's going to be very reduced compared to what we have with the commercial bank. And when you're able to pay your loan back, you're going to have like a rebate in such a way that you're having at the end of the day more like a single-digit interest rate you're going to get for you to be able to stand firm in your agribusiness venture. So it's going to be across the 37 states, and I tell you that it is really, really, really going to transform life because it's going to create jobs for other youth. And more about the opportunity that we've had from Dawn Commission and other people that are saying that these opportunities are going to come our way. So this is a very good opportunity for us to really engage in agriculture and be able to feed Africa and feed ourselves and create jobs for ourselves. So over the year, what have we been able to learn? We've been able to learn that mindset change is very key. For someone that did not want to study agriculture, but now we find ourselves doing it. And also to see that source of technologies, having access to facilities, for example, what our colleagues are doing in Imo State, abandoned facilities that have been able to transform it to produce, for their state, and also to see that coaching and mentoring keeps continuing in such a way that when you have problems, you're able to have something to fall back to. You're able to run to some people to put you through and, tell you how to do it right. So in concluding, I would say that based on what we've done over the past, we know that youth without full exposure to agriculture, with right and enabling environment, they can be productively engaged in agriculture and they can create jobs for themselves and even for other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Festus Okunla from the IITA Youth Agripreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, the next session is question and answer session. The man that just gave the discourse is here. Mr. Adedotu Sheingbo is still around. So, gentlemen, co-members, invited guests, if you need any clarification, please raise up your hand. Mr. Copper Benjamin, good luck, please help me with the microphone. All right. Please, question and answer. While that is going on, do not forget that if you want to tweet or retweet or do anything, the hashtag for this event is hashtag Corpers for AG. Corpers, C-O-R-P-E-R-S 4. That's 4 digit, like the number 4. A, capital A, and small letter G. So you can always do what you like online. All right, please, question and answers, please. All right, I think we have. All right, please.
My name is Asu Patrick. Mr. Dawn Commission, sir. In one of your solutions, you were saying that we lack indigenous technology to solve indigenous problems. And owing to the fact that we Africans have this tendency of inferiority complex on us, and whatever is made in Africa is never taken seriously, and owing to the same fact that we are youth, and personally I would like to venture into any new technology that can be recommended, please, I wish you throw more light and make suggestions on a kind of technology that will be accepted in Nigeria and in Africa, made by a fellow African or Nigerian, sir. Thank you. And that which can stand the test of time and, you know, work like the modern technology invented by foreigners. Thank you.
This is John question. Regarding having local solutions, developing local solutions, because in the end, problems are within a global space, but they also have local coloration. One of the ways for a young man, a youth, to come up with acceptable solutions, on the assumption that you've actually been very intelligent about it and it's really transformative, is to align yourself with platforms. One of the things that I always advise young people like myself is not to think you can travel alone. The IITA Youth Agripreneur Program, for example, I can imagine that there are young people, young minds, trying to create innovative solutions for local problems that they encounter day in, day out, and then they leverage that platform to push it out there. Do you get what I'm saying? So one way that I see that we can start, or we can push innovative solutions solving local problems, would be to align with platforms rather than traveling alone. Now, in terms of having or giving you examples of local solutions that I know that they've actually stood the test of time. Let me say my head is blank now, but I know that the Niji Lucas that was mentioned, he didn't produce those things, but he couples these machineries here in Nigeria, and has actually been doing a lot in terms of local solutions for when it comes to farm machineries. And I also know that for some of the products that you see up there that the YIA mentors have shown us, I'm very sure there are also local solutions solving local problems. For example, the smoked fish, smoked claims. You know, they are adapted for local problems. I can tell you that there are quite a number of solutions that have stood the test of time. We only need to start going shopping for them. But I just advise finally that youth should learn to leverage platforms to push their innovative solutions. I hope I've been able to dribble myself around the question.
Sorry, I want to buy your question from him and respond. Today's world is a global village, yeah? And no one country can sustain on its local products and bringing solutions from its local technologies. It's just not possible. And no country in the world. I think we all need to learn from each other, and we see what we can adopt and modify to our local conditions. You know, it's not that if you see between Lagos and Ibadan, all cars are imported cars, right? However, you could import that technology and then build your own car using your local materials. And in that way, you will be creating jobs. So I disagree, sorry, that you can do everything locally. No country can do that because technology is developing much faster than our even thought processes. you know, and not every country is growing at the same rate. And their technologies are also not growing at the same rate. And there is no restriction from learning, on learning, and applying. So I think it's a global village. Thank you.
All right. Please. Any other question, please? Questions, please, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, please. Somebody. Ben. Okay, let him use the table mic.
Good afternoon. My name is Yusuf Yunusa. So, from your lecture, I discovered that what you are trying to tell us is the wealth of any nation like Nigeria is the ability of what we produce locally to be consumed by our citizens. And in the recent time, I discovered that you are trying to, in form of tell the youths to involve themselves in agriculture and other related stuff in agri. So I discovered that, like last week, I was checking through a news headline, and I'm seeing something like a ship just arrived from either China or from all these foreign countries with 200 tons of maize, legumes, and all other grains. You are thinking of something like Gari to Nigeria. So as a youth, I want to venture myself into agriculture. How do you think we can do that? Meanwhile, after trying to get all these things with ourselves in Nigeria, and all these importation of these things are coming out, how do you think we can add value to the price and all those things that will encourage us to venture into agriculture? Thank you.
Well, thank you for bombarding me with questions, even though we had tons of speakers earlier. I take that as a reward for a good job well done. All right, to your question, what you are simply talking about is how can we make agriculture or the products that come from our agricultural practices export, or let me say competitive globally, because it makes a lot of sense. Part of the argument we've always said, for example, at one of our governors' forum, the governors were saying food security, food security. And then we said beyond food security, beyond just feeding yourself, beyond just thinking about yourself, when you focus on what you mentioned, local consumption, you would just find out that somebody next door is producing that same thing. Maybe it's for you to feed. They will produce it and then bring it into your space, and then you still eat it, whereas those who are producing cannot compete with those that are bringing it. So what we're saying, or what I said, is that there is need for us to find a way to couple the required partnership that will help us not to fund inefficiencies in the value chain, improve efficiency in a manner that cost is brought down, and then you can compete globally. Because, of course, the news you talked about, what you talked about, of course, said a particular organization importing maize. Productivity is still a big issue. I am an organization. I need, let me say, millions of tons of maize to utilize or optimize my plant. And production within the country is not up to that level. And for the space that are unutilized in my plant, I am spending maintenance cost and all of that, which has to my cost. So I have to import. So we need to get this argument right, that when we're talking about agriculture, we must have this export orientation. The export orientation in it is this. It helps us to then benchmark whatever we are doing against and check possible importation. Because if you focus on your local market, you focus on your local people, and then there is a commodity that comes from Kenya and comes at a reduced price, the consumers will buy that and not buy yours. So that's why, like what IITA does, what Dawn Commission does, and those organizations that bring partners together, is to help partners to have a handshake in a manner that you can reduce the inefficiency that seems to increase production cost, thereby making our agro-commodities non-competitive in the global market. So my answer to that question is, we need to begin to think about bringing partners together. Government needs to fix infrastructure, because infrastructure adds to the inefficiency that jacks up the price. Research organizations need to improve on improved varieties that will further jack up productivity and all of those. So it's actually a multi-stakeholder thing that will help to reduce this inefficiency. I buy your thought. I, for one, I don't crucify any organization trying to import when so I hope I've been able to answer the question in a bit, but we have other contributors who can add to it.
The contributor is right beside you.
Thank you very much. The issue you just raised is a discussion I just had recently with the young lady. And on the flip side of what he said, it's also a challenge to you that shows that a potential $67 million that could have gone to Nigerian market is going to wherever countries those maize or legumes are coming from. But for me, I had a wicked question to ask, and that was, what are those countries doing right that could make them meet those sort of productions and make our own farmers less competitive? And these were the answers. And that is where you, as graduates, there is nothing much more interesting about agriculture when smart minds do it. And that's what makes agriculture cool. One of the challenges that we are having in Nigeria is that our farmers are old. Some of these new technologies, some of these new practices, they are not just willing to do it. For example, the maize they are talking about, some of the best results that the local farmers quote are getting is probably about 2 to 3 tons per hectare. These other countries that are getting their maize from are doing as high as 7 to 8 tons. And what is different? Research, information, and that's where places like IITA come in, and they are doing well. Because one, when you prepare the land properly, and when I ask further questions, it's about cost efficiency. And the answers I got were like the inputs that goes into their land preparation, the amount of fertilizer that they use in preparing their land, and what gives them the maximum yield. And of course, better varieties of seeds. And that's where research merges with you understanding when you put your cost and do the right things to make maximum profits comes in. And when we can get that right, we'll be able to produce enough to meet our own demands, which will solve our problem, and also probably export to the other countries. So it's a challenge that you also should take. And well, it's an holistic approach. The government also has where they come in, and that's where I like the topic where you are talking about mindset change or infrastructure. So, and for Southwest, we're talking that one of the challenges that we have is land preparation. And it's a big challenge because the cost alone in opening up land appropriately, as in not the word appropriately, is enormous. So, but we just hope that these discussions like this will help us form better policies where we can actually engage in these agricultural businesses and excel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nii. One thing I'll quickly say is this. For example, let's just say for youth as we are here, we need to identify one key area that we can come in. So for every challenge that we have in agriculture, it's always an opportunity for us as young people to just add our quota to development of agriculture in Nigeria. Now, like he said, that it's a multi-stakeholder kind of a thing. Government needs to play their role. The research institute needs to play their role. the farmer too need to play their role. Now, I was trying to study what actually happens in the Netherlands, being one of the best, agri country in the whole world. I see that actually they have less than 2% of their population in agriculture. But one thing they've been able to get right over the past years is that their research and development is superb. It's one of the best in the whole world. So if Africa or Nigeria can really work on the research and development, and we see that some of these technologies that are being produced are able to get to the right hands of farmers, and they're able to do the production, and we're able to feed ourselves locally before we begin to think about exporting this in-house, then we are always just going to get there without stress. Because I cannot imagine that we are importing fish into Nigeria, where we can actually produce fish and to solve our own problem, or even produce maize and solve our own problem locally before we even start thinking of exporting. So if we cannot feed ourselves here, there's no way we can even start exporting anything out there. So all of us need to identify those key areas and see where we can come in, and we're able to play our role. Then agriculture in Nigeria will move forward.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I just want to, Wale Aliu is my name. I want to take from where he talked. He mentioned about Netherlands and mentioned specifically about research. And this is the area where I am, and the success story in that place is because research and agriculture is driven by private sector and not our usual tradition of public sector system. And that's why when my friend presented about the idea for the Southwest, marvelous. But as a Nigerian, and in actual fact, I worked for 10 years in Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, and I'm one of the pioneer champion cocoa rehabilitation program in the days of Obasanjo. And I will tell you that I finally resigned my position and moved abroad because of the way we in the private public sectors, and including myself, we do things. When you bring a model the other time that in a way for us to really catch up with the numbers of seedling we need for that. I recall in 2003, what we put in model for 14 producing cocoa states in Nigeria was to have their seed garden of 2,002 hectares per state. And I also put it there that youth from those states should be higher, at least 10, trained in the institute, then deployed to that place to have like a ownership of that thing. And from that place, the cocoa will spread. But don't let me go into that. A lot of Commissioner of Agriculture is guilty of that because everybody just believes it is donation to their state. And that's why I'm passing the message to you now. For your program to succeed, it must be driven by private sector. And the area of is also coming that those of us who into research, I love it. I was in Netherlands for 1 year before I moved to Germany. Most of their research is private sector. You can have a private research and I go into potato breeding, I deliver. Now here, nobody is accountable. I'm in 35 years, I resign, whether I contribute nothing or not. Millions come, everything. You throw it away. So this is challenge for all of us. And because when he mentioned it, I said, oh, this guy is talking to those of us in research. And we need to change our orientation. If all the grammar we are blowing going to come to reality, there will be new focus in Nigeria. The private sector need to take the drive for agriculture. The question asked by the young man is just a response to the demand. The poultry industry in Nigeria ran into problem of lack of feed. There was no feed. They were buying I have a farm that laid off 2,000 workers because it can't feed the bird. Yami's farm in Ofa produced 100 tons of feed to feed the bird in the farm per day. He couldn't get maize. So people who have that opportunity are those that are bringing that. That should not scare us. That should also serve as an opportunity that, oh, there is huge market here. But lo and behold, again, the policy of government is also this. Because when, at a point, people are even exporting grains to Nigerian Republic to get foreign currency, when foreign currency was scarce here. So I'm just saying this is not static. Those of you in economics who really knows. So the market is dynamic. So that's why you use the word smart. So somebody who go into the business have to also be smart and be conscious of the information and know what to do. So I just say I should chip in this. We'll discuss more later.
Thank you, Prof. Reserve your energy to clap more because it's one of the panelists. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, with our time fast spent, and we still have a whole lot to do today. But before we continue, I would love to remind you the story of the egret. The father gave him wings so that he could fly. And he flew and flew until he got to the sun, and the sun smite the wings and he fell. But the father of the International Institute of Agriculture is not like the egret. He gave us this conducive environment, did everything to make sure we're happy. In Latin, they used to say, Nemut quod non habet. You cannot give what you don't have. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, he had to cut off so many things so that he would be here. The last time we went to meet him, he said, I'm a father like you. 4 have children like you. You know, if you're not very attentive, you may not understand the English. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, he even decided to sit with coppers. He had decided not to sit on the high table. If you are not very careful, you might even hit him on the shoulder. You don't know the person you are hitting is the man that is housing everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not busy, with the standing ovation, I want you to be standing where you put your hands together for the Director General of the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, Dr. Intereya Sadinga. Yes. Yes. For those of you that are turning your heads around to see his face, he has decided that he will not come to the front. So if you want to know the person I'm talking about, just give me some box. That's the part of the value chain. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, at this junction I will have to take a bow. And I want to invite the Margaret Thatcher of NYSC IITA. Yes, we have our own Teresa May here. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite to the microphone Copper Miss Olomoma Yowa. She has been walking around the club. I take a bow. I doff my hat.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Olomoma Yowa, and I'm going to be your panelist for today's discussion. So to start things off, because time has really gone, I'm going to be calling on our panelists. And please, as I call their names, I want you to give them a round of applause because they've taken a lot to be here with us today. First off, we have His Excellency Oba Francis Adefarakomi Agbede, the Olowa of Igbaraoke, ably represented by Prince Robert Agbede. Please, let's put our hands together for him. Please, sir, you can come up. Please, can an usher come forward? Next off, we have CEO of Durante Fish Industries Limited, Chief Ogie Alakija. Please put your hands together for him. We just heard our third panelist speak to us, so we'll be expecting to hear more from him. We have Provost College of Agriculture, Kwara State University, Professor Olawale Aliyu. Now on to the first woman in the midst of the men. We have molecular geneticist who is based at the Bio Center here in IITA, someone who has a passion to encourage the young people and the youth in any way possible. Please put your hands together for Dr. Ranjana Bhattacharjee. Moving on to the young people on our panel, because we cannot have a panel for coppers and not have young people involved. We have, his CV is very long, so please, you will allow me. We have a farmer, we have an agricultural economist and extensionist, we have a value chain catalyst, a communication champion, a policy and social media expert at YPAD Nigeria. Please put your hands together for Mr. John Agbola. And finally, our last panelist, she has been with us throughout the planning and preparation for this program. We have the head IYA Capacity Development Office. Please put your hands together for Ms. Oweye Molayo. So now that everyone is seated, I would also have to take my seat up there. But just so you know the order of the event or of the program, we're going to have the panel discussion first. So please pay attention because we're doing this for us. If you have any questions, just put them down as the conversation is going on. Then at the end of the discussion, we'll take questions from the audience. Thank you. All right then. Can we all hear me? All right. So to start off, I'm going to give just background knowledge on what we're going to be doing for this panel discussion. I think after all the presentations that we've heard and everything we've listened to, the question on the minds of most of the young people here is to farm or not to farm. And by farm, I don't mean like go plowing. I mean get involved in agriculture generally. I think we're in an era right now where a lot of effort is being made to draw the attention of young people into agriculture, because a lot of young people, myself inclusive, at least prior to this event, we think of agriculture as dirty work for people who either have no education or they haven't been able to get a job, for the unemployed people. So there's no questioning the fact that young people are needed in agriculture, and that brings us to the topic of today's program, which is mindset change. Is mindset change or infrastructure the most important to attract Africa's youth into agriculture? I think from the topic we can see that we're saying mindset change and infrastructure are both important. The question now is, which is more important? So before we begin with the panelists, I'm going to throw the question out to the audience. I'm going to ask for mindset, and I'm going to ask for infrastructure. So please respond. If you think mindset change is more important, say aye. Aye. If you think infrastructure is more important, say aye. Aye. Wow, all right. So I think beginning the program, we believe that infrastructure is definitely more important. So right now, I'm going to throw the question to the panelists. We have 6 panelists, so I'll ask 3 people on mindset and the other 3 on infrastructure. So starting with our Chief Alakija. Sir, please can you give us your opinion on what you believe mindset change is?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What do you define mindset change to be?
But if you have the right mindset, infrastructure will automatically follow. So it's quite a difficult decision to make. But the first thing, I think we're all from a farming community here, why on earth does anybody want to go into farming? Thank you. Why on earth does anybody want to go into farming? In this audience, I assume everybody is farm orientated, but my question is, why do you want to go into farming? Is it because it's glamorous, or you want to help Nigeria feed itself? Can someone ask, if I ask 3 people, why do you want to go into farming? One lady here.
The reason why I want to go into farming is because I want to make a difference. There are a lot of things to change. We are working together on the value chain, so we want to make a difference.
That's fair enough. Does everybody feel like that? If you want to make a difference, because you could be a doctor, you could be a nurse, or you could do anything to make a difference. But you know, to be a farmer, in my opinion, in Nigeria now, you really have to have something more than just a passing wish. I'm going to go into some tricky areas here now, because no matter how much you want to be a farmer, if your government doesn't support you, you will fail. And for me, that's what's happened in agriculture through the years. We have this stuff called black gold in the form of oil. It is the biggest enemy of agriculture in Nigeria. It's no good all the fancy business about machinery, research in how to do your, how to grow your crops, all goes out of the window when government will not take the right decisions. Can you imagine that last year this country imported 1,500 metric tons of frozen cut potatoes? 1,500 metric tons, 1.5 million tons of fried potatoes. Now you say, well, who's eating them? But if you look around all the supermarkets and the fast food chains, yeah, that's where they're going. It's the same with rice, it's the same with everything. So when the government artificially holds the price of the naira to the dollar at a particular rate, this is no good for anybody. The bottom line is that the government interference in agriculture is holding it back. You should not be controlling your currency. It should form a natural level, and then people will be able to plan. Right now, about 10 years ago, government decided it wanted to develop palm oil. So there was a total ban on the importation. A lot of money went into the producing of palm oil here. When everybody was up and running, they granted licenses to import. Everybody had a license, the whole thing collapsed. So what I'm saying is that it's a very, very risky business running a farm or into agriculture when you cannot have, when government is able to interfere like that. I'd like to say a bit more later, but the first thing is we need proper government support to think. And the support should be through infrastructure and be in the form of helping to develop the infrastructure which will benefit farmers.
Thank you very much for that, sir. So Chief has pointed out that if your government does not support you, you're going to fail, meaning if infrastructure is put in place, you cannot go on. So I'm going to ask Professor Aliu, sir, what do you think the government can do in terms of infrastructure to help us?
Thank you very much. I want to thank the organizer of this program for inviting me to come and learn. I'm a university teacher, so I always stand to teach. But since morning, you know, even though this discussion is afternoon, I came in the morning because I want to learn. I want to thank you for the opportunity. But before going to what the government can do, I really want to take up the importance of technology in the agriculture. And I'll give a very simple example. In 1993-94, when I was a youth copper like this, I served in Ondo State. And I look around Ondo, so there was a cocoa business going around. And that would come with this SAP program where the market was liberalized. So anybody can go. There was no longer what we call the board that controlled the buy and selling of cocoa. So everybody can go anywhere and buy cocoa and quality become a problem. And as a youth copper, I just look around. What could happen? I say, oh, let me tap into this. I quickly go and learn how to do quality check for cocoa bean that is acceptable. And from my NYC allowance of 700 naira, yeah, I save and I buy what you call aqua boy. It's just to test the moisture content of the cocoa inside the jute bag. And I move from village to village. And I test your cocoa. I will issue a paper for you that if any local buying agent come to your farm and want to price your cocoa less, don't agree. Show the person this is the grade of your cocoa. If you want to contest, look for me. I'll come around to come and challenge. And farmer buy into it. The story is so, within 6 months, I bought a 2-door car as a young copper then. So where I'm going now is that I was able to do that because I tap into technology. Because moisture content is very germane in your cocoa. So I will go further to discuss later. Government is just taking off from what I discussed the other time. Government have very big role to play in this agriculture, stability of government, and again creating a platform for private sector to take the lead and minimum interference. On Monday, I was with the governor of Kwara State. They couldn't implement their 5 years agric plan because of public problem. The money will be invested, you can't just see the money. That is government interference. People will say, oh, you can't implement this because it's going to affect our political agenda. So government must, like they did in banking sector, allow the private sector to take the lead. Just give room for regulation so that the industry is regulated and at not the mercy of the people investing in it. Go back to the example we did the other time. You cannot shut out the door for somebody bringing in grains, but you can discourage that by tariff, duty on it, to give an incentive to those producing locally. That's what they did in Germany. If you're going to go to America and bring a laptop, no problem. You're going to pay 19% at the point of entry. But if you buy, you don't pay at home. So when I went to the US and I said, can't use German keyboard. When I got to the point of entry, I said, oh yeah, Dr. Aliu, fine, you bought this thing from the US, you're going to pay our duty on it. Because you are buying from another market. So these are part of where government can use their policy to help investors in agriculture, but not to strangulate them. That is the point I'm trying to make. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think the point being made right now is that we're lacking in infrastructure. A lot of focus has been on infrastructure. So I'm going to throw the question now to Mulayo. Even with our present lack of infrastructure, do you believe that with mindset change, changing the mindset of young people, we can still get them into the field of agribusiness and have them be successful in it?
Okay, thank you, moderator. Before I drive home my point, I would like to ask the audience 2 questions. If you see tractors and any farm implements on ground, and you're not interested in agriculture, would you go into agriculture? Okay, so I think I have the larger percentage saying no. Another point, another question I would like to ask is, if the passion is there, right, and you even have this infrastructure, but at some point, there are machines they wear out, would that kill your passion for agriculture? So this is driving my point for mindset change, changing the perception. Find infrastructures that are there, they will be there, but if the passion is missing, then the infrastructure will lie fallow without doing anything. To venture into agriculture, passion is there, and I think it's the #1 watchword that has been communicated to everyone since the beginning of this program. If I decide to go into farming, and I don't even have the small-scale implements to further maybe enlarge or increase the capacity of my produce, but I have this burning desire in me, I wouldn't sleep on my bed. I wouldn't sleep on my bed and wait for the government to come up with, help fabricate some things. No, my passion drives me to make sure that, okay, what I have in my dream, okay, yeah, someone said in his presentation that the only distance between reality and dream is what? Action. So if the action is not there, backed up with your passion, then we are saying the same thing. Then we are going back to the same old message we've been preaching, that youth needs to be attracted to agriculture, youth needs to be engaged in agriculture. So for me as a person, I have seen without doubt that mindset, the change in perception. I gave it, during my speech this morning, I used myself as an example. Of course, I studied general agricultural science in the university, but I was waiting to just leave and change my course. The passion was not there. But trust me, my 400 level, we did this farm FPT. We drove tractor. I was in the tractor, but the passion was not just there for agriculture. So yes, the infrastructure, and we have little facilities for storage, but it wasn't driving me. So I believe that this change in perception, the change in orientation, that youth needs to see that no, there are different entry points into this agriculture. That is what we are preaching. That is what me as a young person is preaching. And I'm sure that is what my colleagues there are preaching. Passion is important, then infrastructure will follow. I believe no government would pump money into the importation of different tractors when its youth are not interested in agriculture. We could use the likes of Netherlands, likes of India, Egypt, yes. #1, they noticed, okay, this is our main focus, this is our strength, and we have people who are interested in it. Let us encourage them. This is my other point, which I won't be giving now. But if these facilities are there and the youths are not interested, and just the old people, imagine a man of 60 years old driving tractor, heart attack very soon. So we need mindset change. We need that change in orientation for youth to engage. Then I'm sure when the government sees this, when they see that no, there's no dream too small. When they see that these youths wake up and the next thing they think of is how to add value to tomatoes that are wasting, how to process cassava into different produce, how to do this, how to do that. I'm sure the various stakeholders, even private sectors, we want to encourage with the different factors, the enabling environment, to show that these youths are productively engaged, so that they give more room to their effort. So like I said, and I'll buttress further on it in maybe my later discussion, mindset change to me as a person is key to the productive engagement of youth in agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, Molayo. Molayo has pointed out that if the passion is missing, whether there's infrastructure there or not, the infrastructure is going to lie in waste, it's going to be fallow. So, Dr. Ranjana, I'm putting this question to you. We have a lot of young people now who they don't necessarily have the passion for agriculture. A lot of people are thinking agriculture now because there are no jobs out there. Like Festus said during his presentation, after graduation, somebody is thinking of MSc. After MSc, they're thinking of PhD because they know that going into the labor market is almost a waste of time. How do you think that we can begin the change of mindset in young people?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon. Youth. Okay. The thing is that before I actually respond to your question, I want to ask, agriculture is not just one sector. it is a agriculture and allied sectors. Agriculture cannot go single. It has to have all the other aspects in place. You know, that's where fertilizers, the varieties, the processing, every unit has to be intact along with agriculture so that it becomes productive or becomes attractive. So I just want to ask two questions to each one of you. Now everybody thinks that agriculture is not agriculture, but it's an agribusiness. But somebody has to produce something to make it a business. How many of you are willing to become dirty? So, very, very few people, right? So if it is just, if I really look at this gathering, yeah, I see only 1% of the people who are actually interested to become dirty. And agriculture you need to get dirty. You need to be in the farm. You have to farm to produce something. Say it fish production, say it maize production, say it piggery production, say it poultry production, whatever it is, it requires a lot of energy and passion, and I go by her, that you need to be committed. And you can't, once you are there, you are there. And then I remember somebody said, most of the farmers are old, 60 years or more. So why is it so? And it has been from at least I am in Nigeria from last 10 years, and I have been hearing the same 60 years from last 10 years. And it's not changing. Why is it not changing? This is a question you have to ask yourself. When I travel between Lagos and Ibadan, I see so many youth just trying to sell their products, some illicit materials, imported materials, just running around, risking their lives. Do you think that is more attractive than becoming dirty? No. Do you think that if you have studied ICT and you don't get a job, and you want to come to agriculture just as a kind of compromise, you will continue there? You will not. So there is a lot of question you have to ask yourself. I come from a country called India with 1.3 billion people. Yeah, we have outpassed China. So we are, I think, one of the most populated country, and we have 75% of our population below poverty line, depending upon farming. So what happened? So how did we make it different? So I think again, we have to know that how some of those countries made those changes. If we don't learn from there and apply, we may have so many meetings, so many workshops, so many teachings, so many things, but it will not come there. It has to be, for me, sorry, the facilitator, I go for both mindset and infrastructure. I cannot go with one and I forget another one. For me, both are important and they go hand in hand. I may have a lot of passion to do the work, but if I don't have the infrastructure, I can't do it. I may have a lot of infrastructure and I don't have the passion, I still can't do it. So for me, both are very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you. So right now we're at that level where we have infrastructure and we have mindset on the same level. And the goal is to have one. At the end of the day, we might have two, but let's see. So now the next question is to Prince Agbede. Sir, I think the average Nigerian, the average youth, or even maybe the average Nigerian, doesn't want to start from the bottom and then go up. Everybody just wants to get to that level where things are good. Nobody's willing to put in the effort. They were saying earlier during, I think the previous discussion about importation of machinery and all whatnot. I know that we have people who produce machinery here, and we have people who are not willing to purchase from them because they have the mindset that whatever is coming from outside the country is better for our young people, how do we encourage them to start from the bottom and let them understand that in the long run, something bigger and better is going to come along?
Thank you very much. I'm here on behalf of the KBSC of Igbaroki, Prince Adefara Kami Agbede. Now, I want to put myself in the shoes of a farmer. I came to ITTA one day, I got 4 acres at opposite the dry port. I said, let me farm than to leave that place vacant. Maybe, I don't know the language they call Werekwe in English. There are a lot of bush there. I bought that place 4 acres. I called people to clear the farm, clear the whole place. That was when I know that when Werekwe fall on somebody, it is sand that they use in rubbing the body. I cleared the farm, I came here, I bought cassava tree, I bought all different sorts of seed. I planted it there. As the things were growing, they used torchlight to steal most of the things there. Then thinking that the cassava I planted were still in the ground, not knowing that everything has been cutted away. So one day I said, let me sell the land, the cassava that is still in the land. I called the person, he bought it, 5,000, all 4 acres. Then when the man was removing those things, he said there's nothing inside. So these are the challenges in farming. It is not merely farming. I know we need to be discussing more on the frustrations in farming. I spend a lot coming here to buy those things. And with my vehicle, I parked almost 10 times just to come and see that even 5,000, they cannot buy anything there. Then the Fulani people will come again with their this thing, eat all the leaves there. At the end of the day, I looked up and looked down and said, I don't think I can farm again in my life. I said, maybe by the time I fence the whole place, then I put barbed wire, then I will put about security dogs, then I can farm. You can see the frustration there. It is, having a passion is different. Having all the machinery to farm is different. But now, you cannot be there overnight. People use torchlight to steal the farming, all these things there. And if you say you want to remain in the farm till daybreak, it's a problem. The current situation in Nigeria is the cattle rearers. No matter the amount you spend on farming, it will be a waste. The only thing we could be thinking is how to fence the place you want to farm and put security men or security dogs there. So I believe our youth should not be discouraged because of that. The issue of herdsmen coming to eat all the farms you have, I'm sure very soon the solution will come. The only thing we have now is that we should think on how to make the gains in farming. By giving the youth scholarship in agriculture, to enable people to come there, because not everybody likes to go into farming. But with that scholarship, people believe in our own tradition that illiterate people do farm. But when they travel outside, they will see educated people farming. So what can sustain us is agriculture in Nigeria. But there must be a lot of things that must be put in place to enable the youth to start in that aspect. But to have a free education in agricultural studies will encourage people to go into that sector. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. He has pointed out that we encounter a lot of frustration in farming, but then at the same time, that shouldn't get in our way of farming or getting involved in agriculture. The next question is to Mr. John Agbola. I said earlier that he's an agricultural economist and extensionist and a value chain catalyst. I think so far in this panel discussion, we've not looked into value chain. We've said that infrastructure is not in place. We've said there are a lot of frustrations. But in the meantime, I think we've seen that a number of people have gotten involved and they're making profits from it. We have our agripreneurs here. So I want him to discuss, as a young person that is in the field, how he thinks in the meantime young people can get involved, because the truth is we can't wait. We're not going to wait until infrastructure is 100% or until all the frustrations go away. So how do you think youth can get involved right now?
Thank you so much for the question. Before that, I'd like to acknowledge everybody that have given their opinion. And I want to paint a scenario for the first question you asked the panelists. I so much like the question, so I want to throw a kind of scenario for everybody to understand it. We are talking about mindsets and infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I want you to just speak an assumption. Can everybody close their eyes? Can you close your eyes? Please, just close your eyes. Open it. When you close your eye, what did you see? Darkness, right? When you open it, what did you see? Light. That's the difference. That's the difference. Let me make another scenario again. I like to use Festus' presentation and his crested shirts to make another illustration. I will use his presentation and I will use the shirts. At the back of the shirts, I wanted to take a shot and post online. And what I see is farming is cool. If I want to take a picture of, if I'm not going to take a picture, I want to talk about somebody talking about, hey, farming is hard. It's one of the most hardest things to do. What does that do to you? It scared you away. But Festus coined the word and say, hey, farming is not hard. To me, it's cool. You see it, it goes straight to your mindset that, hey, something must be interesting in what this guy is saying. That's an aspect of what is changing. Excellent. Recently, I wrote a blog post about Google Hits, rebranding agriculture. It's one of the most blog posts I've wanted to pour out about how can we really change the definition of agriculture, so that if you put it on Google, what will come up will not be that one smallholder farmer pushing his bicycle and holding his cutlass, but that we will have young people who will pop up and making changes in agriculture. So let me point straight to the question now. How do we ensure that young people take their role in the agri value chain? One, there is a divider between city and rural area. When you think of city, you think of sexy, sustainable, luxurious, big job, big cars. When you think of rural area, you think of, hey, I want to run out fast. I don't want to go there. Boring, local area, local food. But it's not like that. There are things that should be in place. When you look at your area, you look at it and say, this is a good area which I must go to. Because you know that there are potentials of agriculture that are embedded in there. But that cannot happen over time. It is when you make a leap of faith that something happens. Let me recall straight back to what Festus said. Festus said the other time that, and I noted it, that if you are interested in agriculture, let me see your hands up. Few people. But if Festus coined the word around and say, if you are interested in agriculture, and we can guarantee that we will give you funding and incentive, how many will raise up their hand? Everybody say, me, I want to go into agriculture. The message of agriculture should be coined around in such a way that we have a sustainable policy and infrastructure that must incorporate with the image of agriculture. If I'm seeing agriculture as good business, there must be something that will prompt me to see it as good business. And there must be something that will support me to also say that it is a good business I'm going into. So across the value chain, there are opportunities that exist. But it now depends on the image of agriculture you are seeing in your mind. Are you seeing the old farmer Or are you seeing the woman behind me holding the big harvest and smiling? You have to change your image. And then comes government's aspect fulfilling their promises. Thank you so much.
He just said for people to get into agriculture, they must see it as good business. Right now, I don't believe a lot of people are seeing it as good business. Just a few people's eyes have been opened. And I think that also goes back to our institutions, our schools. I think the first meeting my batch had with IYA when we came in, some of the people that addressed us that studied agriculture, they pointed out that in a lot of schools, agriculture is seen as the dumping ground. I couldn't get into engineering. I couldn't get into this. And then they just send them to the agri department. And when they even get there, they're just waiting for their program to come to an end so that they can go and find something else to do. I think my next question will be to Professor Aliu, because he's from the academic sector. How do you think our institutions can help in changing the orientation of young people? Because, for instance, someone like me, my dad, for example, is an agricultural engineer. He tried and failed in encouraging me or any of my siblings to go in that line because we had agri and we're like, no, thank you. So how do you think the academic sector can help in changing the orientation of young people?
Thank you very much. One of the reasons why I joined the university, the Kwara State University, Malite Ilorin, is we saw this problem coming. And in part of our program, let me admit first, the curriculum of agriculture in Nigeria imposed by the NUC on the university is due for review. What I mean, I don't really want to say is effective. That is, you need to come up with a newer reality. And that is part of why I'm here to take notes, that if in a forum, that for us to meet the new challenges in training of people going to agriculture, new things must be incorporated into the curriculum. Having said that, for you to pass through Kwara State University, it is mandatory that we are trying to include training in entrepreneurship. It is mandatory for our students to go through entrepreneurship right from their 200 level, irrespective of your discipline, whether you are in aeronautics, whether you are in history or accountancy, you must just go through entrepreneurship training. We have a center for that. And before you graduate from our university, you must register your own company. What we are trying to do is to create this type of what the IITA and the corpus are doing, that irrespective of your discipline, you are open up to start thinking that if I graduate with engineering and I can lay on my hand on engineering, I'm already exposed to how to make business. But more specifically for agriculture, my college of agriculture, and the Center for Entrepreneurship, we have a program we call Farm to Wet, in which we expose students, irrespective of the discipline, to basic how to crop annual crops and how to raise beds and how to make it business. In fact, currently we have 10,000 beds for that program. That is a joint partnership between my College of Agriculture and the Center for Entrepreneurship for our students to lay their hand. Because we know we cannot bug them with detailed training you are giving here because they have their degree programs. So, but we as a university, we are trying to change that type of things that will create passion for them that by the time they come in, of course, like you rightly said, many students come in reluctantly to agriculture. But by the time they get to 300 level, they are really into it. We have many of them who already have their businesses now because they register before they leave the university, and the university is ready to support them. That is what we are doing at KWASU. But having said that, I really want to also put across agriculture is about production, like you did mention. But the production is about knowledge and skill. So, and that is why you can produce efficiently and compete in the market. You must understand three things in the production: your soil, your seed, and the water. Knowledge about these three components is what will guarantee you better production in agriculture. And as we sit today, people are still making effort to understand how to produce better. So the storyline is the vacancy where people can come into. In fact, we have been talking agriculture. In science aspect of it, we have been talking of fertilizer and the likes. The quality of fertilizer available in the market is zero. If somebody can just have a small way of determining the quality of fertilizer, some people will key into it. If you have a very smart way of determining the soil nutrient status of a commercial farming, some will key into it. These are few things I believe that, and which I believe will attract youth into it. That it doesn't, not necessarily you have to be a farmer, but you can bring a, like, let me go to what our daddy said the other time. It's challenges about farming and likes. If somebody from ICT can say, oh, I can deploy drone that can survey your farm for you, and you don't have to be there, and you can take care of the security of your farm. Somebody can think through that and said, oh, I'm into this. If you're having 20 hectares, you can have fence everything, but we can deploy drones. This is what my company does from the youth, which is those in Kompura, ICT, and the like. Think through, and they can bring it. People will key into this. So I'm saying all this, that the perception is changing. It will change, so, but it will take some time. But what will finally drive all of us there? One, food, hunger, like said by my sister the other time. Then two, opportunity for us to survive. I study agriculture because somebody said one thing: as long as we exist, population will keep increasing, then our food production, we must guarantee the way to produce food to feed the world. So, that is my take on that.
Thank you, sir. Let's put our hands together. I think we're beginning to run out of time, but then I still have one more question. To ensure that coaching and mentoring is important, because right here, right now, of all the corpers here, I'm sure only a very small percentage have like 4 exposure to agriculture. The others are from different walks of life. How do they undergo the coaching and mentoring? I think we have our IITA youth agripreneurs. I don't know if we all know them. They're the ones wearing wine over there. Please, I'll throw a question to you guys. A lot of you did not study agriculture as you, but are you happy that you're involved in it right now? I can't hear you guys. Yes. Okay, so I believe that before they could come to that conclusion or that agreement, they went through a lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring, a lot of reorientation. I think that's what the mindset change we're talking about is of. So for young people here that are leaning towards finding out more, what avenues have been put in place to ensure that they get the mentoring and the coaching that they need to get involved?
Thank you for that. I would like to start by saying, one way or after, the way we started, we sat back as a team or as a group to check how best we can attract these youth. I'll speak about the attraction, then I'll speak about retaining them. Now, the attraction needs to start at a very tender age. That is at catching them young. We tagged that, catching them young. And that was I was happy with what Professor Aliu said. And I hope that curriculum will be reviewed as soon as possible. Because the best way to catch a youth or someone, to make someone or the younger generation interested in agriculture university. As a matter of fact, I feel that is crying after the head is being cut off. But since when they are in the tertiary, or let me say even secondary school, or even primary school, because nowadays, back then when I was in primary school, you would see the image or the picture of a farmer with hose, rags, and basket on the head. And I'm sure it's still like that. So even, I hope the curriculum will be reviewed from primary to secondary and to tertiary institution. So basically at the secondary school now, yeah, it's not compulsory for them to make it like a compulsory course, but like sensitizing them maybe once in a week on a daily basis as to why they should venture into this course. Because, yeah, the curriculum has been so damaged to the fact that even the Faculty of Agriculture, like you said, our moderator, has been seen as a dumping site. So if youth or if policies and various academic experts, like the likes of profs, can sit down to see how they can review this thing from an early age, trust me, I'm sure in the next couple of years to come, we will be dragging youths to even go into the Faculty of Medicine or College of Medicine to study medicine, because that big picture has been seen. They've seen it, they've envisioned it. Now they want to venture into it. So that is that. Now, mentoring and coaching youth, that is a very important area in trying to attract youth also into agriculture. When the representative from Pam Crowdy came, she said something that as a farmer or as an entrepreneur using agriculture now is that you don't expect to get your profit in the first 2 years of your business. Am I right or wrong? And that alone might be very, very discouraging for a youth. Of course, we need money. I need to look good. I need to look, I need to be at par. Like, I need to, I want to see my colleagues or my classmates in school and should be able to say, hi, what's up, how you doing? Not hide. And this mentoring is, we are where we are now because of mentoring and continuous support. It hasn't stopped in all the facets of, or let me say in all the areas of agriculture. Is it at the planting aspect? Is it at the harvesting? Is it at the business part of it? So things like this, continuous mentoring, continuous coaching is one way, again, that helps to retain youth in it. Because there will be, of course, for every business person, they have the downtimes too. And in agriculture, in agribusiness, it is inevitable. You will have to experience it. But when you see people coming, or people who have made it, coming to tell you that, yes, I went through this is how best you can do it, this is how having a mentor, then the mentor continuously mentoring you, coaching you, supporting you in every aspect. I'm sure we would, because I'm sure this like we are, this would just be like a stepping stone. So I will not dispute the fact that mentoring and coaching is necessary. It's not necessary. It is very, very necessary. But again, how, as a group, how have we been able to do that? Of course, by having mentors in different areas or different aspects. So we are here because we are the models for other youth. And we are not just here to retain every knowledge we have to, it's not stopping with us. We are there as a channel to other youth. So if you have this mindset that, yes, agriculture, agribusiness is the next step for me. This is what I want to do. I want to be like the likes of Adeni. I want to be like the likes of Jacinta. I want to be like the likes of one of the agripreneurs. Then we are here to help you. And you can walk up across to anybody, not necessarily me, anybody, and I'm sure they will channel you to the right path. And we are there. Thank you.
Please let's put our hands together for her. Because of time, what we're going to do now, we're going to take comments from all the panelists in case they have 1 or 2 things to add to what they've said previously. So please, each panelist has 2 minutes. So please, just any other thing you want to add, any other thing you want to say. We'll start with Dr. Ranjana.
I want to tell you something, sir. You went to farming alone. Do a community farming. You don't need those security. So if you go with many people, you will not need that. Don't go alone when you are farming. Now, I want to actually tell you something very thought-provoking. 1960s, Nigeria was the first producer of cocoa in the world. And cocoa was the GDP of this country, right? Côte d'Ivoire, today, cocoa is the GDP of that crop. Cocoa is the GDP of that country. And it's an agricultural product, right? And many of the people, they have so much of money in Nigeria from cocoa, which is an agricultural product. And I'm sure all those farmers who are now 60 years old, they were youth then, right? That means youth were attracted to agriculture. It is the policies, it is the environment which has changed, and everything has changed. Let me tell you one more thing. When I joined agriculture, in my class, everybody were doing ICT or finance, and they looked at me down. Oh, she's doing farming. Very, very down. And that was discouraging. But today, I'm telling you, all my ICT friends are sitting in one room doing the same program over and over and over and over with nothing else. But me, I can see the plants, I can see them growing. They are like kids to me. Every day when I see them, I see changes, and this is what I may be getting salary 1/4 of them. Let me tell you, ICT gets 4 times more salary. But what gives me is satisfaction. And I think in life, that matters a lot. When you are youth, it may not matter, but today you are youth, tomorrow you will also get to 40s and 50s. And that's what you need to think about, much ahead of when you are standing today, where you are standing, where you are going to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I'll call on Chief Alakija to give any comments he might have.
My brief advice to everybody in this room right now is to steer clear of agriculture, because we have a completely useless government, which we've had a useless government for a long time now, who don't care 2 sticks about farming. The good news is that by the year 2050, we will have a population estimated to be about 750 million, which will be, although half the size of India, and India, by the way, they feed themselves, then there will be no choice other than to support agriculture. So you're in the right work. Farming is great, and I decided to be a farmer 65 years ago, and but now you will find it very difficult to compete, because government is just not yet on your side. But when it does have to, when we have people, when we're 750 million, if we're not producing our own food, we will have people starving. We will not get into a forum like this. We'll be hiding, and there will be no greenery around, because people will be eating the grass. So keep it up. Don't give up. But it's a very difficult situation right now. But very soon it will improve, and it will improve as the oil money dries up, because we use oil money. We import dollars. We import food to feed the civil servants. 85% of Nigeria's national budget goes on paying staff salaries. There's no investment, therefore no jobs. But there'll always be a job in agriculture, but there will be a lot of problems that go with it. Good luck to you all.
Thank you, sir. Prince Agbede, sir, any comments, sir?
Well, I have no much comments than to say the society is changing. The wave of crimes in those days are not the way of crimes today. Things are changing. The ways of crimes today may be different from the way of crimes tomorrow. The most important thing for the generation we are is to start to reduce crime, because no society can wipe out crime. Even within the church, there are criminals. So that's why I'm saying that with the only thing is that we should only try to reduce crime. That's why in Jos, no single person will venture his life to go to the farm because of problems. The herdsmen will hack them down. The herdsmen were not like this before, but just maybe because the head of state is criminal. Is a Fulani person. That's why they now decide to develop crime. Sorry, a slip of tongue. Because what we only do in those days is that we only follow our leaders. If the leader is a Yoruba man, most of the Yorubas may try to misbehave, one kind. If it's a TV man, the TV man may like to behave anyhow. But it was not like this before the president came in. But because maybe the president was a Fulani, that's why they are only trying to behave that way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Professor Aliu, any comments, sir? There's a mic.
Hello. Thank you. To wrap up, I really want to thank you. And the way to go is that is what the IIT is already doing. We should break the barrier between people who have knowledge about how to make agriculture into real money and those who teach agriculture in the university. And also to perhaps broaden our program in the university, that for people who have the opportunity of studying in the other clime, you can be an engineer and have a minor in music. So probably we should also give this versatility in our programs so that people can have options to do some other things where they have passion for. And if they can't get a job with what they train, probably they will fall into their passion. But I'm looking at a situation whereby I can have a course in my department where I can ask my sister to come and teach the students, not only teaching them how to make money, but also to inspire them. So, and I believe with this, it will take some time, but we will gradually get there. But beyond that, I really also want to say this: where you invest your money, you have to be there. All the examples we are citing Europe and America, farmers live in their field. When you go to Netherlands, you meet them on their field, their house in their field. That also tells some of us who may be in urban and regional planning that when you drive in the city of Berlin, you see farms within the city. You don't drive farms outside the city. You allow them to stay there. Maybe that's why we are talking of rural. So if a farm is an location and is suitable for that crop, you can leave it to go there, to be there. And you can have your development other way around, not the one we do here, that immediately somebody is farming here, we sell the land, move away. The airport is coming, you people move away. But we should encourage people that farmer can stay in there. The best cocoa farmer in Nigeria live in the farm. Baba Adefulu is in Ondo. The man will be in the farm Sunday evening till Friday afternoon, and he only go weekend in the city. He return there. That's why he make the money. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Last but not least, we have Mr. John Agbola give his comments.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. I would like you to listen to these 3 key points. It might be a very good take home. Number one is, for every young people in the house, there's a platform whereby we can leverage on. We are creating changes in the agricultural sector, and that is Young Professional for Agricultural Development, YPAD, which I ably represent here. Another thing is identify your food hero, identify your agri-man. For me, and for also of other people who identify additional, and for me, I have some smallholder farmers that are my food hero. Identify your agri-man, identify your food hero making changes in agriculture, I like when Molayo said something about Dr. I can't remember his name. Dr. Sorry, I can't remember his name now. When he was presenting, and he said that I like it because he is a farmer and is wearing suits. Identify your food hero making changes. Number 4 thing that I will leave you with, and I want you to just make a pen of it. An average of youth is smart, intelligent, and able to integrate technology into agriculture. So today, make a big move and make your agriculture, create an agrilution in agriculture. When you create an agrilution, you should now create an agriculture. Do we get that? Thank you so much.
Can you just go over the last line again? I don't think a number of people got
Okay.
it. Yes.
When you identify your food superhero, when you identify your agriman, from agriculture, you should create an agrilution. When you create an agrilution, create an agriculture. Make it cool. Farming is cool. Thank you so much.
Please let's put our hands together for all of them. I believe that we've taken a number of things from the panel discussion that we just had, but because of our time, we're going to take only 3 questions. So please, if you have any questions, can you signify? And when you're asking your question, if it is directed towards a particular panelist, please let us know. And if it's just general also, let us know. And please state your name before you ask your question. Thank you. We have one person over there. You can use the mic on this table. Use the mic in front of you.
Thank you. I don't know if this is really...
Your name?
Oh, sorry. My name is Precious. I don't know if this is really a question or more like an observation, but then, like, from what all of you people have said, okay, maybe it's just a question. Now, can't we actually put mindset change on that infrastructure? That's my question, because I think it's both. Because looking at IITA now, when I was coming in, man was like, oh, you drive tractor. I'm like, guy, I can't drive a tractor. Then I landed in a lab. I studied biochemistry, and I landed in a lab, food and nutrition science lab. And then from there, I had this mindset change about what you could do to improve nutrition. It's not like agric was basically my passion. No, medicine was actually my passion. But then I had a mindset change to biochemistry, and from biochemistry to what you can do to improve food nutrition in agriculture. So now, can't you actually put mindset change on that infrastructure? Because when I got to IIT, I saw that, oh, they had all the equipment needed to make your life or work something better. So I think, yeah, that's my question.
Is it directed at anyone in particular, or any one of them can answer?
Actually, anybody can answer.
Okay. Would anyone?
Thank you so much. Let me give you my opinion about that. You are right about what you just said. From the angle you are coming from, we can put mindset into infrastructure. Imagine a situation whereby before you set up to take on agri job or to go into farming, you have this assurance that there is already established process and system in place. In a Akufo farm settlement, for example, you want to assume that there is light in there, there is tractor, there is a sum of allocation funds for you before you go into agriculture. That already points your mindset, because you know that you are not going to suffer. You are not going to do it the way old farmers do it. So it's when it is in place that we can say that infrastructure have a direct relationship on mindset. But when it is not in place, then we have to change the mindset and change the infrastructure aspect. Thank you.
Yeah. Please, can we all try to go straight to the point with our questions because of time?
All right. Thank you. My name is Giwa Muide. Thank you, the panelists. My question is, to a reasonable extent, I have been able to get attracted to this agriculture. But then, I feel the mindset change and the infrastructure, they require a symbiotic relationship. if I have that mindset change, if I have that mindset towards agriculture, where I realize that the opportunities are limited, you may have a mindset towards contributing a particular quota to this, to a niche or a value chain in agriculture. But one thing I still observe is the opportunities in agriculture are still in there, although I think it requires understanding the value chain. But I still don't get to know how those opportunities that are, how we can get to increase the opportunities in it. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you have said it yourself. They are symbiotic. They have to go hand in hand. Because you see, for example, you are here today and you are in a situation where you do not have any facilities, but you are taken to some other country where they are advanced countries, and then your mindset will be automatically changed. We are like, even if two twins, one is in a condition where everything is not conducive, and another place where it is conducive. Our mindset, as she said, is embedded within the infrastructure, because our thoughts changes every minute, every second, depending upon the environment that we are in. So I think they have to go hand in hand. Nothing, even sometimes I feel that, okay, I may have all the infrastructure, but I may not have the passion to do that, but I have passion for something else. So I don't know how you separate those two. For me, personally, they are together. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Last question. Okay, Mulaya wants to say something.
No, I'd like to add something to this. Perception or mindset is and agribusiness, when I say agribusiness, just agriculture, agribusiness, cannot work alone. It's not a standalone sector. It needs so many other things. So for perception, fine, perception is there. But I've been hearing infrastructure. Maybe we are limited because of, okay, that's the title of this discussion. But have we forgotten that also under this infrastructure, let me put it that way, we also have these policies. We also have these market linkages. We also have these financial institutions. Are they all friendly? So when I want to put it out now to the youth, if you are saying infrastructure, do you also think about that? Or you are all about the machineries and the storage facilities and all? But infrastructure, agriculture and agribusiness to strive also needs the support of other sectors that I have mentioned. The financial sector, policies has to be in place. It has to be favorable. Our voices are there being heard. The facilities are there, but is the market linkage there? The facilities that are there, but loan application for youth, are they friendly? When they tell you a 23% and you have the infrastructure, is that friendly? Would you go into it? So it's a big word. So I want you to, even after this discussion, to go back home. Fine, mindset, it's key. Infrastructure is key. But other things, and that's why I'm happy, like I've been saying since morning, I'm happy this is coming on board. Because you now have so many young people who are ready to push this course. So for you coming on board now, it's like you have people paving the way already, treading that path, and who are ready, they are trailblazers, you just follow behind. Because they are now, we like the likes of Jacinta, we have like Evelyn, advocating that no, policies must be in place, favorable policies, loan applications must be in place, collaterals that are friendly to youth, and so many other things. So it's not just infrastructure, not just the tractor alone, but so many other things which we help together, even curriculum development from our primary school to secondary school to tertiary universities. So I hope I've been able to spark up something in you with this infrastructure and mindset. Thank you.
Please, can we put our hands together for her? I'm very sorry, because of our time, we won't be able to take the last question. I'm very sorry. But right now, please, I would want us to put our hands together as we tell all the panelists to take their seats. We thank you for taking time out to be with us. Please, let's put our hands together for them.
Thank you.
Please, let's put our hands together for them once again. Please, can we all try to move forward? If you have any vacant seat in front of you, please, can you fill it up? Please, can we do that as fast as possible?
Oh, there way, please move forward. Let's fill in all the...
Any empty chairs in front of you, just fill it up, please. Coppers in the middle here, please move forward. You can come from the last row. Those are the last row. Just come and fill in the ones in front so that it's not too rowdy. Please, can we do that fast, please? Ushers, please, can you help us make sure that people come forward? Thank you. This line with green chairs, please, in the next 1 minute, can we try and fill them up? Thank you. Let's hurry up, please, let's hurry up. Well, I think for the panel discussion, we had the conversation going both ways. We had number one, Bolayo especially, championing for mindset change. And then we had a few other people leaning towards infrastructure. So just to round up the session, to come to a conclusion on the discussion, please, I want us to rise up, put our hands together as I call on the Director General IITA, Dr. Saginga. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward.
Yeah, please sit down. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. You don't have energy. Good afternoon. Again. Yeah, okay, thank you. I'd like to call the two organizers, the Youth Corps, who are the leader of this group and who had planned this event, if I remember very well, 2 months ago, am I right? So who are the leaders? The leaders should come here. A lady and a young boy and a lady. Who is your counterpart? Good, come. Very good. So I would like to see the youth corporal, the ladies, stand up. Very good. Bode, are you taking a picture? Taking a video. Very good. The men, the ladies sit down. Men, stand up. Very good. Atake, give me the proportion between male and female. So 55 ladies and 45 men. Yeah, thank you. Please sit down. Yeah, so I'm going to make my speech with these two young people. When I stop, you continue, am I right? Yeah, okay. First of all, I just want to thank the panel. We just experienced a very good, thoughtful, and very animated panel discussion. And I want especially to thank the chairman of Durant Farm, my friend and my Chairman Trustee Olakija, please stand up so we can appreciate you. The reason I'm doing this especially, he is a businessman, and spending just 1 hour or 2 hours with us and with you, the young people here, means a lot. And we really have to appreciate that. And as a member of the panel, I'm not going to go into individual. I see you came from different places. And actually, I was not expecting to see you taking a place from Ilorin to come and just be here for this opportunity. I think it means a lot on how you take this subject very seriously. And I would like to appreciate that. Please, thank you. I want to appreciate all the young people, the youth copper. I think 2 or 3 months ago, they came to my office as basically most of the time, twice in a year, the youth copper come to my office to come and discuss about not necessarily the future, discussing the stay in ITA, exchange with me, and I have seen a lot of things developing from year to year, and I'm going to give you examples of some of those developments. What you are doing here is, in my mind, so exceptional. And each group is unique. And you have been unique because this conference here was not organized by ITA, or it didn't come from our suggestions. It came from them, and they realized that there was needed a forum where they could discuss some topics which they decided to discuss about, all the ideas coming from them. I think that's really commendable, and we have to congratulate you for that. And I hope you continue. So I'm going to tell you something about the topic you've been discussing today, about the mindset change versus infrastructure. The discussion was really quite interesting. But I traveled yesterday. I went to Abuja for an extremely important meeting with the Minister of Agriculture and the Vice President. Was called for negotiation, and the meeting started at 9 o'clock. We ended up the meeting at 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning, and at 7 o'clock, I had to summarize the notes of that meeting, making sure that today that is discussed at the FEC, that's the Federal Executive Council. So basically, I had to stay in Abuja to continue until everything was concluded. But I decided to come just because of this meeting here. I decided to come and with you because the topic we were discussing yesterday from 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock in the morning was about the youth and how finally you all heard about what we call enable youth. Was for 2 years we've been really fighting to make sure that your government can implement that program. And some of the discussion yesterday was exactly what you're discussing. And my point of contention was every time, what is the mindset change? 2 years ago with this group, the way we had defined mindset change was to change the perception of agriculture. Basically, agriculture, as the way you define, is not just production. It's a value chain means that we saw the component of logistics, warehousing, marketing, all kind of things, in addition to produce production, right? To make sure that the engineers, computer scientists among them could start doing processing, start the sense of nutrition. I think the young lady was talking about biochemistry here, what the meaning of vitamin C in cassava or whatever, vitamin A. That was that time. But my discussion yesterday, and it took a lot of time, a lot of convincing, came to two facts. The first one is that, and we all agree, the Minister of Agriculture and the Vice President agreed completely to that. It's really quite logic. Yes, in Nigeria, we are importing almost $11 billion worth of food. Importing from rice, importing even toothpick, importing all of that. And in all discussion, I was making a point to my interlocutor that, yes, for me, I see this, that creating jobs in America and in Europe, we are exporting jobs because when we import rice from Thailand, yeah, people have to cultivate that rice in Thailand. They have to pay salaries there. They have to pay all those people in this value chain in Thailand, and we import that. We use our money to do that, and we import what we can produce here. It means those jobs there, we can create them here, in Kebbi, in Oyo, in all those places. Point number one. It makes sense. And I was saying, where are we in Africa? We are full. It's bad. And we have all of you, maybe 90%, who go there, you won't have jobs for 2-3 years. But in Thailand, the job unemployment is probably 4%, as here 70%. So that was my first point. And the second point is about the mindset change. What happened to you? And you've been educated this way. When you finish your school in universities or poly, you get your certificate, your degree, and you make a file, and you write a CV, and you start going in these places looking for jobs. That's what we all do, am I right? Including me. You look for job. But when you're looking for job, you go, and if you go to work to look for a job at a Durante farm, he's going to interview you, but he has created that job. And for us here and for you, can't we change the mindset? Instead of going and look for a job, you rather think about creating your own job. Can you do that? So it's completely a different philosophy. When you start thinking in that direction, then basically even, well, the country will start changing direction. So we discussed about that quite a lot yesterday. My third point was this. I told, especially the Minister of Agriculture, and I said, well, because he's an old politician, the Vice President is more a technical person and a religious person. Then I said, why is it so easy for the young people in Borno State created Boko Haram, and it basically assembled. The young people were massively going, and we had, sometimes it was 3,000 naira, then you take an arm, you are part of that group that almost occupies the whole territory in Maiduguri, and then you see, again, as they reminded me, oh, this is happening in the east, with the Igbo Biafra group. As a matter of fact, during the time we were talking, the vice president took his phone and he started looking and he showed me how the so-called Malu, is it Malu? Kanu? Nandu Kanu, in just less than 6 months, he has assembled almost 20,000 young people who want to follow. And I said, okay, now, why is it difficult for us to create a group, a young group of agripreneurs, and if it's only 3,000 naira that we're going to be giving, like in the case of Boko Haram, why is it so difficult for us to do that? Ask yourself some of these questions. Why is it difficult to do that? So some of the things I'm asking you is really think about that and trying to see if you here, because you asked for this conference and you want to take some resolutions from this meeting today, basically, and saying we of this generation of this agripreneur, maybe we could basically come with an idea, a positive one, not like a Boko Haram. We don't want you to create one in South or Southwest. You come with a major idea which we can push in the sense of adding value. It could be in agribusiness, it could be in some other things. Let me give you an example of some of your colleagues here who have come with some of the ideas and they're really pushing them. I'm just extremely proud of the generation of the youth corps last year came to see me in my office like you did, and we sat down with them. And we were discussed. And at that moment, I had gone to Imo. The governor had called me to advise him on agriculture. And we visited some infrastructure at the Polytechnic and in Imo State, dilapidated facilities completely. There's the largest greenhouse, which was built. They spent $300,000 to build it, but it's never been used for almost 6 years. Abandoned, rats going in it. And when I was touring all the facilities, I went to the poly. They have a kind of fish farm that is a little bit more, very modern, and pens for poultry. I think they use it only once and they abandoned completely. It was just horrible how things are being done in some of other countries. So the group, your predecessor last year, in a meeting like this, and I said to them, well, we have this, can we think about rehabilitating all those facilities, and you can start doing horticulture in the greenhouse, you can do fishery and the poultry. And among those groups, we took I think 10 of selected those who wanted to go to Imo. I remember very well, I accompanied them when they were traveling to Imo. We gave them a bus. And some of them didn't have mattresses. Some young Yoruba ladies who've never been to the East, they said, oh, we're going to try to go there. And I have that picture, I remember very well, when they were going, in my mind I was saying, oh my goodness, where am I sending these young kids? I was just like taking a risk, and they're taking a risk because they're going to the unknown. among them a young lady who studied electrical engineer, Silva, as the head. They went to him, and with some technical advice, supervising them, and so on, to cut the story short, that young group of your colleagues, one promotion before you, they rehabilitated the 5,000 square meter of greenhouse, the largest. They are producing tomatoes, cucumber, and the governor, Okorocha, when we went there, he said, since he was born, he's never seen where tomatoes are being produced in Imo State. Those young people are now selling tomatoes in Imo State. And when they sell the tomatoes, because they are of good quality, people in Imo are saying, oh, these tomatoes are coming from South Africa, or are they GMO? These are the young people. Now, I've been there 3 times to go and see what they are doing. Sometimes in the greenhouse, they prepare everything, irrigation, all, they've been innovative. And sometimes there is no water. These young people, because they believe now in what they are doing, they've seen that, yes, they can make a living in that. You will see Silva, Grace, Innocent, with bucket of water on their head. They go and, yeah, you know, irrigate the tomatoes, because they know the tomatoes, if they don't do that, in 2-3 days, they will do. So there is very strong determination in such a way that they are selling eggs, they are selling chicken, and so on. It's becoming a business. In Imo, they are known, and those young Yoruba girls, last time when I was there, I said, can you come back to Ibadan? They said, no, we don't want to go to Ibadan. So I believe things are possible, change mindset. So what we need really is a vision. That young girl, Silva, she has a vision. She's an electrical engineer. She has a vision. And what she's added to the vision is passion. So when she's explaining what she's doing about tomatoes and so on, really you can see she's proud, you will see conviction and so on. And the third element that you need after passion, that is not enough as well in the vision, and you need hard work. Vision, passion, hard work. And so we need to do that. So what, another example, maybe to close this chapter, I just said 3 weeks ago, came from DRC. There's a youth entrepreneur as well. As young people, they finish just like you. There is no job in DRC. So the young people say, what are we going to do? They form an organization. And there are 60. Each of them has contributed $10. So they assembled $600. They've rented an office, and they went to see at ITA to look for soybean and the bean seed. And it gives them 3 hectares. So what they are doing for the moment, they are convincing the young school, in secondary school, give them education of agriculture, and they go to USAID to give them a grant to start doing that. So innovation can come from different places, but you have basically to absolutely do that. So I'm going to give you a task, a group here. So this meeting should not go in vain. It should not be basically we had a conference and you tick a box and you're happy you've gone home, we had a conference. Try to organize yourself. Try to come with some creative idea of which is different from what the ear are doing. Come, think, be original. Try as much as possible, check those ideas with us, and we'll try to see how we can support you. Finally, the outcome of my discussion yesterday, or this morning, and I will continue discussing, it's possible that this is a large project we've been waiting for the youth across the country is going to take place. We are negotiating very hard, and I hope this might happen maybe by the end of this year. It seems that we are reaching kind of an agreement, and everybody is really convinced that we have to do that. This project is about empowering the young people like you, using the EAR example of how you work in the value chain, how to create your own business. And so this project is going to be open for all 36 states of Nigeria, and is for you, is for the young people between 18 and 35 years. Maybe in 2 weeks' time, if you're here, we'll be giving you more information on that. But prepare your mindset. That gives you an opportunity, because we'll be looking for, I think, the ideas of empowering 1,000 young people per state. And this, you can do this by group, 3-4 people having a good business plan. After training, you go and start your own business. We'll be working with private sectors, like Durant Farm, it could be on cashew, it could be on fish and so on. We'll be working also with the private and public sector to make sure that you can get incubated in those places before you go for your own business. So we will have the opportunity, you will have the opportunity to do that. This is going to happen. But my advice to you should not be that you wait for things to happen to you. As I'm saying, go for things you can do. Don't present your certificate to go and get a job. Go and say, this is what I can do. I have this idea, and I have a lot of strength to do A, B, C, D. I'm sure you can do that. And finally, people like us, as Alaki just said, 65 years ago, I think Atakra and I will say probably 40 years ago. I'm just wondering if we had this opportunity that you're having today, trying to imagine what we could have been, maybe like Alakija today, because we went into all this, academic studies, and we're looking for jobs, and until today we're looking for jobs, right? Maybe when they sack me as a DG, I'll go and look for another job, I take my certificate and the CV. But what I'm learning, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do just like you. I'll be agripreneur #1. And start creating my own jobs and all kind of things and so on. Okay, so it's been a pleasure. And we are so happy. See a lot of us sat here for almost 45 minutes. It was very animated, a lot of enthusiasm. So it should not be the end. So come with some other ideas. Come to my office. And let's discuss some other ideas. Talk with your colleagues who are basically, it's just like a team of football in red, and you're a team of football in khaki. Meet in some places, discuss ideas, trying to see if there are some other things you can do, and so on. And finally, we are training leaders as well, because we want you to be the leaders of tomorrow. And we keep saying, if it's happened in Nigeria, it will happen in Africa. At least it will happen in Ghana and in Congo, all right? Okay, all the best. And here we're going to have a small party for you there. So we'll see you there. And if you want to dance a little bit, you can dance as well. Listen to music. It's been a great day. Thank you so much.
I was thinking you are still clapping. I was thinking you are still clapping, please. All right. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the close of business. But before we go to the vote of thanks and departure, I want to announce that we still have closing refreshments before the cocktail, before the party announced by the DG. We still have closing refreshment, but the order with which we do things in the morning is the same order we follow. That is the dignitaries and the invited guests first, before the core members, before the football team in khaki will go out. All right, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, with pleasure, I want to invite Mr. Onoseya Abiola Okechukwu Lawrence, yes, the coordinator of the IITA Batch B Corpers, to give the vote of thanks and departure. Thank you.
Just before Lawrence gave the vote of thanks, I just want to say one or two things. I'm sitting with a youth copper with all the excitement that has been generated and the words of encouragement that the DG has shared with us. And I was very surprised. She's sitting next to me and then she says, "But I'm scared. But I'm scared." That was what she said. So I spoke to her and I said, "Why are you scared?" And she started opening up. We actually didn't finish opening up what makes her scared. But that triggered me to actually come here and recognize the fact that sometimes it is good to be scared. The reason why some of you may be scared is because you are really thinking of the reality out there and how you are going to make it. One thing I will tell you, don't let the circumstances out there kill your dream. There are going to be circumstances. It's not going to be easy. In fact, the reason why I got so animated by what she said is because I also felt scared for you. I felt scared for you on the one hand. On the other hand, I felt excited. As Dr. Sanginga said, the opportunities you have are golden opportunities, which a lot of us didn't have. But the realities out there are very challenging. So you don't need to be scared. You don't need to allow the circumstances out there to kill the vision that you have, to kill that passion. Secondly, you have to be able to recognize that within each and every one of you, there is a soft spot of a desire or a capacity that you have within you, irrespective of the way you have been trained. And you have to really tell yourself that is something that you are going to use. Your success in terms of having a successful future begins from now. It begins from now. So my encouragement to my daughter there, because she's my daughter, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this with her to try to understand the specific instances, but I do sense that there are a lot of you here who are scared. And I want to encourage you. Feel free to come over, as Dr. Sanginga said, to discuss with the agripreneurs, to discuss with those of us who have gone through what you are going through now. And whatever guidance we can provide for you, we will definitely provide for you. So that's why I am here, just to make that point. Don't be scared. Yeah? Move out with boldness, move out with confidence, but recognize that there are challenges out there, but don't let those challenges kill your vision, don't let them kill your dreams, and don't let them kill your passion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I feel honored and privileged to get an opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this very historic occasion. Firstly, I would like to thank God for the grace bestowed upon us, for the wisdom for us to have achieved this. Special thanks goes to the Director General of IITA, Dr. Teranya Saginga. Please, I want everybody to give a round of applause, for he has been there for us. When we met with him, he said, I'm a father. That what struck my heart. I said, I'm a father. We have come to meet you, and you said you are a father. What does that mean? But I went back to the corner of my room, and I thought about it. And I saw indeed that, yes, he is a father. Please, let's clap for him once again. Our hearty thanks goes to the Deputy Director General, Dr. Kenton Dashil, for his support in all ramifications. Let's clap for him, please. And also Mrs. Hilda Cooper for gracing our occasion. Please, let's clap for her. The IITA management staff, they have been there for us. People like Dr. Atakra. Let's clap for him, please. I cannot but also mention somebody's name, somebody that is very, very important to us. When we came into IITA, he took us in. He was the one that determined whether we're going to be accepted or not. He said, feel free to come to me anytime. Feel free to talk to me. We were like, we have been here, head of unit should be hard, but the way he took us like his own children. I'm talking of the person, of no other person but Mr. Zumana Bamba. He didn't do that alone. He assigned some staff to us from the unit. People like Mr. Ohaunsi Afam, Auntie Lara, and also Brother Muiwa. I prefer to call him a brother because he's truly a brother. Thank you very much. Also, we say thank you to the Olowa of Igbaroki, ably represented by Prince Robert Agbede. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Our robust thanks goes to the Commissioner for Youth and Sport, Honorable Yomi Oke. He was here with us earlier on, but he had to go attend to some official issues. Thank you very much, sir. Also, our honorable regards goes to the former Speaker, Oyo State House of Assembly, Honorable Kehinde Ayola. Thank you very much, sir. At this junction, our profuse thanks goes to the Director, Durante Farms, Mr. Ogi Alakija. Thank you very much, sir, for coming, for attending to us, for taking your time to be with us, sir. Thank you, sir. Our deep gratitude goes to the Oyo State NYC Coordinator, Mrs. Ifeoma Anidobi, ably represented by Mrs. Miriam Umoga. Let's clap for her, please. Thank you very much, ma'am. Also, I would like to say a very big thank you to our beautiful mother, our mother indeed. I've not even mentioned names, you are clapping. Our mother indeed, she has been there for us, for the moral support, for everything. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together for no other person but the Akinyele Local Government Inspector, Mrs. Atiya Abdulkarim. Thank you very much, ma'am. There is also a great man amidst us, the provost of the College of Agriculture, Kwara State University. He came all the way from Kwara State just to grace this occasion, to learn with us, to teach us. I'm talking of another person, but Professor M.O. Aliyu, the father of agriculture. Thank you very much, sir. To our sisters and brothers, I've gotten to a point where I look at them and I see them as sisters and brothers. They have been there for us. They have been guiding us. They have been directing us and putting us through. And I'm talking of no other organization but the IITA Youth Agripreneurs. Thank you very much. We are really grateful. Yeah, I know. People like Molayo Oweye, Festus, Evelyn Ohamusi, and others. Also, to our distinguished guests, we say a very big thank you. To the youth in the house, they say, without commitment, you will never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you will never finish. I thank you all for your commitment, for your dedication, and also for your consistency. Thank you very much. On the final note, I have to acknowledge some people for their dedication, because they all worked smilingly, shoulder to shoulder, for the success of this seminar. These are the ESCOs. People like Giwa Muidin, Aluko Alex, Adebayo Tulayo Mujit, Adefila Mordiya, and Honoremi PC. Thank you very much. Thanks to you all. Someone once said, if you want to change the world, start off by laying your bed. For when you lay your bed in the morning, you must have accomplished a task, and also an encouragement for the whole day. But if by chance you had a horrible day, you come back to a bed which was made by you. But I say, on the final note, that if you want to change the world, please start off with agribusiness. Thank you all for coming. All right. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please, we are stepping out to take a group photograph with the Director General, please. So please, the invited guests first. Invited guests with NYSC Batch B core members first. Invited guests with NYSC Batch B core members. Then Batch A will come after that. Then interns and IT students can come. So Batch B first, Batch A to follow after the interns. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
What the fuck is my laptop?